Welcome to another edition of Who's on First. And we have a special guest today, Stitch Williamson. Right, Stitch?
Yes, sir, Bobby.
Introduce yourself to my fans there.
My name is Stitch Williamson. I'm from Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm 56 years old. A longtime friend of Bobby Rivera. Since umpiring school. So yes, I'm a husband, a father of two, a proud grandfather of two baby boys, and a proud follower of Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior.
Yeah.
So, but yes, it's an honor for me to be here, Bobby. Honor for me to be here.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, Stitch, I mean, for everybody, I'm sure you don't know, me and Stitch met way back in 2003 in Harry Wendelstadt's umpire school. And this is where we became friends. And so my question for you, Stitch, like what drew you to baseball? What made you say, hey, this is my sport. This is what I want to get into?
I can never remember a time where football and baseball was not a part of my life. I was named after Mickey Mantle. My mother went to elementary school with Thurman Munson. So I was a Yankee fan upon conception.
Okay.
So it's just always been a part of my life, my DNA. Sports, baseball, football, especially. So baseball is probably my first love, without a doubt.
Okay. It's funny you mentioned Thurman Munson. We were up in 2019. We were up in Cooperstown, and he's one of the guys that I think that should be in. Still hasn't gotten a shot at it. Hopefully one day they'll open up the books and they make them. Like you do in The Godfather. We open up the books and we make it.
Right. Exactly. His anniversary of his death is coming up here on August the 2nd. I still remember the day he died in that plane crash, because it was, I was just 10, 15 miles away from that at the time it happened. Mm-hmm. And, he's buried in the same cemetery as my grandmother. So every time I go see my grandmother, I always stop and see Thurman's tomb or tombstone. Yeah. So.
Okay. Yes. So what is it that you love about baseball? What's the one thing that baseball does for you that, puts that fire in your heart?
As far as being a player, it's just, when I played, it was just, the competitiveness of it. It's you and against the pitcher, right? Or right. Defensively, it's, if you're a pitcher, it's you against the hitter. Or, being defensively, it's you trying to stop a player from getting on base, or, that kind of fueled me. But when I got into umpiring, what fueled me was the pursuit of perfection. Okay, that drove me crazy, because, as umpires, we are expected to be perfect when we walk on the field and get better from there, right?
Absolutely.
And so I've never called a perfect game. As far as getting, a lot of times it's not even getting all the calls right. But, and you learn this at Wendelstadt in umpiring school, it's about, am I in the best possible position where I could have made that call, or right. Made that call and been in a better position, mm-hmm. And, so things like that, as an umpire, I always took pride in working hard and looking the part. That's half the battle. But the things that I remember are the things that I missed, not what I got right.
Right. I mean, I tell my kids all the time. I said, so you can imagine being an umpire and be equivalent to a baseball player. So mm-hmm. If a baseball player strikes out 7 out of 10 times, he's great. Could you imagine an umpire missing 7 out of 10 calls?
Ooh, I know. As big league guys, their strike zone. I mean, you take away, pitches that are swung at, foul tips. Okay, right. They're 96%, right?
Right.
They got a great out. So say after all the foul tips, swings, and misses, and all that. Say they have 150 pitches. Okay.
Right. Right.
And so, if you miss 9 pitches out of 150, I mean, I would probably go home and put my stuff on eBay,
Yeah.
because I felt that I had a terrible plate.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, it's, we're not going to get them all right, but it's just that pursuit of perfection every day you step on the field, you want to be perfect.
Yeah.
So that's
Absolutely.
what drove me.
Wow. It's a lot of people don't understand that. They don't understand that, umpiring is not just a thing where you just go out there and just call it and everybody's just happy with whatever your call is. You have to justify every single pitch. You have to be able to, and not so much for the crowd and not so much for the players and the managers, but for yourself. The beatings that we give ourselves. I always said you're only as good as your last game. I don't care if you did 15 World Series. I don't care if you went to super regionals and regionals 500 times. I was like, you blew that call at first base. Woo, buddy. That's a problem for me. Well, I know you said we don't call a perfect game, but my best game ever. I had told my dad, and I said, Dad, it's the best game I've ever done. And he goes, how could you tell? I said, well, the manager on that side said I sucked, and the manager on that side said I sucked. I said, I think that was pretty good. What do you think? And he was like, hey, you ain't wrong. You ain't wrong.
Exactly. And that's that is the thing. Being honest with yourself. Because I mean, these guys who they come off the field, both dugouts are on fire, burning down, and they're sitting there saying, well, this guy's he's hard to work for. I can't believe he's fussing about this pitch here or that pitch there,
Right.
But really, it's justifying yourself rather than being completely honest with ourselves. I mean, do they have a right to gripe? Do they have a right to fuss? Was my strike zone inconsistent? Was I given, too far in? Was I given too far down? So sometimes it's being honest with yourself rather than trying to put it off on somebody else who, disagrees with what you call.
Right. Okay, and we're back. Had some technical difficulties. All right, so Stitch, you've umpired all over. We went to Wendell Stats together. So what's the highest you've umpired? What have you done?
Well, I was Division I conference for 14 years. I worked SEC non-conference.
Okay.
I worked 15 college regionals, either at NAI D2 level. I worked 2 Division II national championships and one JUCO national championship.
What years were the Division II World Series? National champion?
National championship. Because I don't know if not many people know this, but the only NCAA Division National World Series is D1.
Oh, okay.
They have the copyright on that, so everything else, Division II and Division III, are just national championships.
National championships. Okay.
Yes. Right. So I didn't know if you knew that or not. I thought
I did not.
Yes.
Good little information.
Hey, just a little nugget for you there, Bobby. But 2013 and 14, and 2014 I was the crew chief.
Oh wow!
At the World Series, and then I did a JUCO World Series in 2018.
Okay. So explain to us what's a JUCO?
JUCO,
yes.
Junior college.
Okay.
2-year schools.
Okay. All right.
So
what were the winners on those? I know it was Tampa, right? The University of Tampa was 1 year.
University of Tampa in 13.
Right.
And then which they was by far the best team. That was also that same team beat as far as I know, they're the last college team to beat a professional minor league team.
Wow. Okay.
They were men amongst boys.
Wow.
They was just head and shoulders above everybody else in 13.
Mm.
2014, I had, which I was the crew chief was, and I had the plate for the national championship game, and that was against Colorado Mesa and Southern Indiana. And that tied the NCAA record or Division II record for most innings in a national championship game. We went 12 innings.
12 innings.
12 innings, yeah. Yeah.
But you know what? That's I know they say, hey, I can't wait to get to a national championship. And then when you get there, you're like, some people like they'll get to a national championship or a championship game, and then the game goes like that. Are you lucky enough to get a game and a half, a game and a quarter?
Well, we was flying through 6. And one thing you learn about postseason baseball is the closer the game is from the 6th inning on, the slower it goes.
Oh, okay.
So we played the first 6 innings in probably like an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
But the last 6 took 3 hours.
Ooh, buddy.
It just drug, son. It just drug. So yeah.
Like, so right. So getting to a national championship, getting to that level, where did you start? Because I remember where we started. We started somewhere around in this little tidbit over here. For those of you who don't know, that's where me and Stitch met at the Harry Wendelstadt in 2003. And that's Stitch right there in the white shirt. And that's me in the white shirt. And if you look really close and you find us, please let me know where I am, because it took me a while.
Right. Yeah.
What levels? What did you have to do? What did you strive? How did you get there? Take us on that trip.
Well, I was blessed. I didn't get into umpiring where you see me in that picture is when I first started umpiring. I was 37 years old. I never umpired a pitch before in my life. And, I went in with the dream that I was going to make it,
Mm-hmm.
to the bidding.
Right.
Well, they're not going to tell you at 38 years old, you're too old,
right.
Right. So, I came back and, I worked everything I could that first year. I worked probably 350 games. So I started out at high school, JUCO. By the end of a month or 2, I was doing high school varsity. So that's where I started. But I did a lot of youth travel ball. And at the start of the summer of my very first year, I got to work with a college assigner. Because, at my evaluation, Eddie Hickok said, Stitch, we see you as a Division I umpire. Okay. Well, to me, somebody who did not know, I thought that meant, okay, I'm leaving school and I'm going to go call Division I baseball. Okay. Right. That's what I thought. So, I come back and I called him, and they had already set their 2003 umpiring staff. So they wouldn't take me. And so I got hooked up with him in the summer of 2013, worked for him, all summer in 2013, working high school travel ball. And then I started working some college fall ball for him in that following year. So the spring of 2004, I was working local college baseball, which was a lot of it was NAIA and JUCO. And so I worked as much as I could of that. Then I started going to, I went to Tony Thompson's camp in Atlanta, Georgia. Tony Thompson used to be a signer for 9 Division I conferences. And so I went to his camp. He kind of laid out, what does it take what things you need to work on or do as a college umpire to get you into Division I. I came home, worked on that in 2004, went back in the fall of 2004 and got a job working Division I conference. So I got into 3 Division I conferences. the OVC, Southern Conference, and the Big South. And so I also at that time got into a Division II conference locally, which is the SAC, the South Atlantic Conference,
Right.
which is and that is where I got in contact with or coaches seen me and got to know me and had a good working relationship with them. So they would always turn me in or suggest me for Division II regionals. And so that was starting probably about 2007. And so what they would do, they would make suggestions to the conference coordinator on umpires that they think are regional ready. Okay.
Okay.
And so, but my goal was SEC, ACC. That was my goal. Okay. So I would always pass up the regionals and probably, and then up till 2012, I finally decided to take the Division II regional. Now, whenever you work at the Division II regional, the NCAA sends a regional advisor to sit and watch. That's all they do, sit in the press box, watch the games, grade you out as an umpire. They come into the game, into the locker room after the game, tell you the things that they see that you might want to improve or things that you could have done better, and give you kind of constructive criticism. So in 2012, at my regional, I was blessed and fortunate enough to grade out #1 in the country. Okay,
That's a big feat right there.
yeah, out of I think 96 umpires.
Yeah, that's a big feat. Yeah.
Okay, now the guys that's going to the World Series that was not returning, because like my crew chief in 2012, that was his second World Series, so he wasn't going back after 2012. So you take those guys out, so maybe 90 umpires. Okay, and so that qualified me for the Division II National Championship in 2013. And so I went to the 2013 National Championship, graded out again, #1 in the nation in 2012 for 2013 out of all the Division II umpires, which opened the door for me to come back in 2014 as crew chief, which means that I kind of helped set the rotations, a lot of input on who works what games, things like that. And when I left Cary, North Carolina at the end of 2014, for the third straight year, I graded out #1 in the nation as far as Division II umpires. And so, that's kind of where my, my World Series came from.
Wow, that's a big feat, and it's a lot of sacrifice on you. It's a lot of sacrifice on your family, because I know we travel big time. I remember giving up some weekends and birthday parties and hey, I'm family function. I know, but I got an umpire, and
right.
it's I'm sure your wife sacrificed a lot of weekends and a lot of time out there, but it all down the road pays in the end. It's something that we're built to do, and this is something that we sacrifice to do. But why don't you show them your little World Series rings there, little man-sized rings there.
This is my 2013 World Series ring.
Wow. Okay. Nice.
Now this is my 2014, and our assistant crew chief designed this one himself. His name is Nicky Ramos, and he lives in Colorado. And so he designed our 2014 National Championship ring.
Wow.
So this is a lot bigger. I don't wear it when I used to wear my rings quite a bit. I don't wear it as much because it was so heavy it hurt my hand.
Yeah,
so that is our 2014 National Championship ring. So
That's these are things that we all strive to do. And you know what? It's one of those deals where, when you made it there, and it's this is why I tell everybody all the time, making friends in baseball. This is when Stitch made it, I called you up. Didn't I call you up and I
Yes,
said, hey man,
yes, yes,
congratulations, man.
yes,
This
yes,
guy, you doing it. You're doing big and I'm proud of you. And when Stitch made it, guess what? I made it also. All right.
exactly. And that's one thing, just reflecting when you get to those situations, because Bobby, you was a field three guy, right?
Yes.
Okay, and so you was there when we was out throwing socks in the outfield on day one of umpiring school, calling balls and strikes, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
absolutely.
you was there from the beginning.
That's
I
right.
mean, I still got a strong relationship with Michael White and Derek Wagamuth. I mean,
Okay.
these are guys that seen me from the get go,
Right.
and
Right.
it just. I always tell Mike White because I used to ride with Mike White, Derek Wagamuth, Matt Witter. I told them, I said, I'm still the worst umpire in that car.
As a matter of fact, I was just telling somebody the other day, Mark Reppinger was
Yes.
he was in our class, and
Mm-hmm.
he was one of the guys on my field. And
Yes.
he's excellent umpire, mechanically sound. And
Right.
Ed Hickok was one of our
Mm-hmm.
instructors on that field.
Yep.
Boy, let me tell you, that man could put some pandemonium on that field.
Yes.
Quick,
Yes.
quick.
Yes.
I remember him hitting a bullet at me at first base,
Mm-hmm.
and I jumped about 3 feet up in the air. And I looked down, I called it fair. And next thing you know, he's standing in the grass and I'm standing there. He's standing behind me. He goes, when did you know that ball was fair? I said, listen, I'll be honest with you. I was just trying to self-preserve.
Yes. Yes.
I was like, it looked like it went over the bag. And he said, when was that ball fair? When in fact it went over the face of that bag. And
Right.
he goes, how could you tell you were 3 feet up in the air? I said, umpire preservation, sir. Umpire
Exactly.
preservation.
Exactly. Umpire preservation. Umpiring 101.
Umpire 101.
And you look at the class we had. I mean, Dan Bellino,
Okay.
Vic Carpazza. They was on both on field one. I mean, we had three guys out of that class are in the MLB.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that you're lucky probably to get one or two.
Yeah.
But I mean, we
Yeah.
got three solid guys.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be honest with you. Umpire school, it did a lot for me
Mm-hmm.
and not just baseball wise, but like personal wise, in my job, in my work, in my life,
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. You get taught integrity and you get taught to make a snap decision and how to be factual and not
Right.
judgmental. And
Right.
it was one of those type of situations, and they put it on you. And I had gone to Williamsport, and I went to little league school,
Mm-hmm.
I went onto that field a little cocky. And let me tell you, they they broke you down. They break you down. They build you
Yeah.
up, and then
Yeah.
next thing you know, 5 weeks later, you come out of there a machine, a monster, a Terminator.
Exactly.
you know,
Exactly. Exactly.
you're. When I came back from school, my dad just looked at me and was like, "Holy smoke!" He goes, "You're a whole different person." And
Exactly.
he goes, "You're a monster on the field." He's like, I never seen you move this fast and moving this and moving that and anticipation, and you're on it. You're on it. And it's amazing. But as umpires, our family sacrificed a lot. Your wife did, my wife did, my kids did,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we did a lot of things. But let's move on. Can you give me a moment where you remember an impact you had on a game, a player had an impact on you?
If I can be, I've thought about this one since I've read those questions you sent me. And there's two of them. And if you can let me go through both, I'd appreciate it. But if not,
No, go
I
ahead.
completely understand.
No, go ahead.
But and you've known around baseball, but sometimes things happen on a baseball field that's outside of baseball. Okay, we'll
Okay.
remember we're going back almost 2 years now when the Angels threw that team combined no hitter on the same day that they honored that Tyler Skaggs kid that got hurt in a car wreck.
Right.
Remember
Right.
that?
Right.
Okay. The whole team that day wore 45, right?
Right.
That was his number. And then he combined for a no-hitter
Okay.
on that same day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So some things are, I don't say it's baseball God. I just say it's God.
Right.
Okay. So I've got two of those stories there, and it happened. One of them happened in 2015. My father passed away on May the 9th on 2013, right before I went to my World Series.
Right.
And then the guy that was working first base that day, his dad passed away on May 9th, 2010. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we're working a championship game of an NAI conference series. This is a championship game. The pitcher, dad, they had a motorcycle wreck, and they had to pull the plug on his father's. He's brain dead. So they made that decision to pull the cord on May 9th, 2014. So we are on the field on May 9th, 2015. Three of us who all had lost their father on May 9th. Okay. And this kid beat one of the best teams in the nation. This team, was just a scrappy bunch, just one of those things where, every time he needed a big pitch, every time he needed a big out, he made it. And it was, by the end of that game, and he went the full 9. And us as umpires kindly talking to the players, we all knew, what that day meant for him, because it was exactly a year from the day that they pulled the cord on his father's life support. Okay.
Okay.
And he found out that me and my other umpiring friend's father had also passed away on May 9th.
Mm.
So, as we're walking off the field, we're all three in tears. He just got done in the dog pile and ends up on the dog pile. And before we get out of the gate, he runs up to us, and we just have, us three who'd all lost our fathers on that day, had that special moment, of this is May 9th. This is, 5 years for one guy, 2 years for me, 1 year for him. And so now every time we see each other, because when I was umpired, I got to see him the last year, and we just look at each other and we go, May 9th. And we both go back to that game where he just, every time he needed a pitch, every time his team needed to make a play, it was just being able to feel the presence of God on the baseball field and know that it's something a lot bigger than this game at this particular moment.
Wow, that's a heavy moment.
Exactly. So every time I see this kid, we just look and say May 9th, and we both go back to that same moment.
Wow.
Okay.
Well,
and then 2018. I got back into church after my heart attack in 2017. And it was a Sunday. I was able to go to Sunday school, but I had like a 1 o'clock game at ETSU, East Tennessee State, to where I could go to Sunday school, but not go to church. Okay. Mm-hmm. And a friend of mine's nephew, pitched at a Division II school in Greenville, Tennessee. It's called Tusculum. Okay. He took a line drive off the face, shattered his facial bone on his left side. Okay. Just shattered it. Okay. There was, there for a little bit, he was really concerned, whether he's going to lose his eyesight or whatever, those situations. Will he ever play again? Will he ever play again?
A questionable moment in the career.
Exactly. And if you look back at people like Herb Score, I don't know if you know who Herb Score is.
I don't know. I don't know.
He was a Cleveland Indians pitcher in the 50s, and he took a line drive to the face off Gil McDougall of the Yankees. And he set all kinds of strikeout records as far as rookie left-hand strikeout record and things like that. But he was never able to overcome that. Okay, he was always shell shocked. He'd throw the ball and duck, praying that he wouldn't get hit.
Right.
And so this kid made the decision as he was laying in the hospital bed that he wanted to just be back for the conference tournament. Okay.
Okay.
That was his goal, which was 2.5 months away. And so, I went up at the Tusculum probably a month after it happened. He's out in the outfield throwing. And so I just went up, checked on him. Hey, how you doing? How's recovery going? What's your goal? What are you trying to, accomplish? How you feeling? Talking about, overcoming the fear of getting back on the rubber and pitching, and how he needed to just trust God in this process of the healing and recovery, and allowing him to get back. Just leave it in God's hands, and it'll kindly work out. Okay.
Right.
And so a week before the conference tournament, they put him on the mound just to see, is he able to overcome? Does he have that fear? Is he gun shy? Is he shell shocked type thing? So he threw an inning, and it went fine. Okay, so they decided to put him on their conference tournament roster, which can only put 25 guys. Okay, you can't add to, you can't take from. Well, you can take from if they get injured, but you can't replace them. So, anyways, I was supposed to have the semifinal and then the if game played. Well, something happened where I got swapped to the quarterfinal game, which was an elimination game rather than the semifinal. They was wanting to put a kid that just this year got the Division II national championship in front of the Division II coordinator. Now, at that time, I wasn't particularly happy about it, but after I finished this story, that this wasn't, I realized that, things are bigger than me. Okay.
Right.
So
right.
I've got that. I got that plate. Okay. And so it's like a 3-2 game in the 5th inning. And they bring this kid in. Okay. They're up by 1 run. And so he ends up throwing, 4 or 5 innings of scoreless ball. Okay. They tack on a couple runs. They're up like 7-2 going into the 9th. And I would look to the catcher and I said, Nate, I said, if Andrew has 2 outs and nobody on base, I want you to go to the mound. Okay.
Okay.
So bang, bang, 2 outs, nobody's on. I look up and I almost forget. And I look at Nate, and Nate turns around and looks at me, and we make eye contact. And I said, oh, I got you, Nate. Thanks for reminding me. So I went out there and I could not look at this kid. I could not look at him because I know what he had overcome and what work he did and whom he trusted to get into this position to where he's back. Okay, he's fixing to win an elimination game to extend their season another day. Okay, and he ain't thrown in 2.5 months.
That's
other
big.
than 1 inning. Okay, so I walked to the mound and I told him, I said, Andrew, I said, I can't look at you. I said, if I look at you, I'm gonna start crying right out here in the middle of this game. I said, I can't look at you, but I said, I just want you to know how proud I am of what you overcome and how happy I am to know that you trusted God to put you into this situation to where 2 months ago you was not even sure that you would ever play the game again.
Wow, that's amazing.
He said, thanks. So I went back behind the plate. Next pitch, chest high fastball. The kid pops out to the shortstop. And I'm walking off and I'm leaving on the third base side. And as I'm walking off, the kid yells, hey, Stitch. And he pounds his chest and then points to me and he said, I love you. Thank you. and me and him have a special relationship to this day. But some things, are just bigger than the game.
Absolutely. Those are amazing stories. I'm glad you shared it with us. I mean, it's just to see that it's more than just a game. It's a lifestyle. It's things that we see in life that people don't see. The people don't see in the stands. They see you,
No.
they see him. They don't realize what's going on. Sometimes there's a game within the game within the game going
Yes,
on.
yes, yes.
And
That's what I
he,
miss. Yeah.
that's what you miss from umpiring.
That's what
So
I miss about the umpire, the game within the game, the relationships,
yeah,
the
the game
relationships.
it's and it was one of my big theories. I said baseball polices itself. And
Yes.
one of my stories is I was doing a championship game, and kid coming up the first base line, he gets swipe tagged. First
Mhm.
baseman jumps up in the air and takes a giant swipe tag, and he hits the kid in the side of the head with the ball in the glove, and the kid just tumbles down to the ground. Helmet goes flying, and he looks up at the first baseman, and he's like, "Hey, what's all that about?" And I'm standing at first base, and I get, "Guys, yeah, it's enough." And
Right.
the other one, the first baseman says, "If you can't take the heat, get out the kitchen." And I said, "Hey, turn
Mhm.
around, go to the field."
Right.
And the
Right.
kid picks up his helmet, and I said, "Go to dugout. Enough, you're out. Okay, it's
Right.
done." Well,
Yep.
sure enough, the next inning, guess who's at bat? The first baseman. Guess who's
Right.
pitching? The kid he tagged.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm
Yes.
standing at first base, and I go, "Oh boy, here it comes." And
Here
as
it
soon as he
comes.
released that ball, and I started jogging down to first base, and boom, hits him right in the back between the numbers. And
Yep.
I go bolting into home plate, and the kid turns around and he looks my face, and I go to first. Don't do it. Put the bat
Right.
down.
Right.
Go to first. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I walk him up to first base. I go to the home, and I turn around. I tell the pitcher, "Go get on the mound. I don't want to hear a word out of you." Then we go to home plate, and the home plate umpire goes, "What just happened?" And I said, "Hey, listen, this is what happened. We need to start issuing warnings." And that's
Right.
what we wound up doing. So, these are situations, these are what I'm saying, with the game within the game, with
Yes.
that a lot of people don't see mom and dad in the stands and the
No.
fans, and they're like, "Oh, he got hit by the ball. The pitcher is not pitching right today." And
Right. Yes. Exactly.
we see it, we see it, we see it. So
Yes.
I mean, what have you taken away from the game that you put into your personal life? You know?
Well, number one is, and you know this, Bobby, baseball is a small, small world, you know?
Yeah. You're
And the more you work it, you realize the smaller it is. So, I mean, you're just, you know, uh, I've been blessed to be able to, go to places I've never thought I'd go to without having to buy a ticket. I'm blessed that I got to meet a lot of people that I've, got to meet, the friendships that I made, but just, that a lot of times we get caught up in what we don't have, okay,
okay.
or
Okay.
or what we want,
Right.
personal goals,
Right.
desires that we want, rather than realizing that whatever is best is just right here in front of you. You know,
Yeah.
just that one thing that I learned from a heart attack is you can't take it for granted. We're not promised tomorrow, right?
Absolutely. That's
Okay,
right.
because I was sitting on my couch with no problems at all, and then 5 minutes later, my chest is tightened up and I'm sweating. My arms are like cinder blocks, and I'm worried about, am I going to live? Is the
Right.
ambulance going to get here before I die?
Right. Right. Mhm.
So it just stay in the moment. Nothing is more important than right here, right now.
Yeah. And
Don't get
enjoy
yeah,
the moment.
enjoy it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, don't get caught up in what could have been, what should have been. Just be happy where you're at right now, because I mean things could be a whole lot worse than what they are.
All right. Yeah. It's a good cause. But as they say in the famous movie Bull Durham, moment's over.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is. It
Yeah.
is.
Well,
But
here's another question for you, since you umpired all these. What do you think into the replay today? What do you think of that?
You know, I'm as an umpire. I hate that the flow of the game is sometimes really hurt by it. You know, sometimes it takes 2, 3, 5 minutes. You know,
Right.
I'm all for getting the call right. Um, it's even down at the college level now. Um,
Oh,
we play in.
it's down to the Little League World Series and all
Right,
that.
exactly,
It's
exactly. But baseball is a game of failures and errors.
hmm
They keep track of errors on the board, right?
right.
So, missed calls is part of it. Coaches that understand missed calls. They kindly expect missed calls.
hmm
Okay, they're not
Well,
worried about the call that you just missed. They're working you for the next call,
right, right,
not the one that you just missed. So, it's part of it. It's just a matter of time before we have an automated strike zone in MLB.
right.
Where somebody's sitting behind or in the press box with, the screen with the box on it, and they're going to have an earpiece in the home plate umpire's ear, and somebody upstairs is going to be calling the pitches. The
Yeah,
only thing
yeah.
the only thing the plate umpire is going to have to worry about is hit batter, foul balls off the foot,
hmm
batter's interference on the steal or catcher's interference on the swing. I mean,
Right,
that's all the home plate umpire is going to have to worry about here before long.
right.
And I grant it's adding a fifth guy to the crew. It's adding more jobs, but I still like
Human
the
factor.
human. Right, exactly,
The human
exactly.
factor.
Yeah,
I would see it all the time, and these guys, they slide into second base and they come up pointing into the dugout. They're pointing into the dugout, and I'm like,
right.
you were out the moment you took 2 steps to second base. Are you kidding me?
Yes, yes,
It's
exactly.
sometimes it's a little annoying. It's like
It is. It
come
is.
on,
Oh,
guys,
yeah,
you
yeah.
were
This right here.
yeah, you would, yeah, like, and he's sitting there pointing, and I'm sitting there going, you're done. You were out.
Exactly.
You were
Exactly.
out. So it's one of those type of deals where you're like, come on, let's just keep it going. Let's keep it flowing. It's
Keep it flowing.
maybe
Baseball sometimes is unless you're on the field. Sitting in a stands watching a baseball game can sometimes be painful or torture. Okay,
you
right?
absolutely.
When
I was
you're 4 hours to play a nine.
yeah,
Okay. And
absolutely.
believe me, there's times where I'm at third base or first base or behind the plate when I umpire, and I'm thinking, you know, could I please gouge my eyes out here? I mean, this is just brutal. you know,
I've
bad
been
base.
I've been to a couple of those games, where you're sitting there going, okay, is this serious? Are you guys for real here? It's like, woof.
Right.
I'm like,
You know,
this is not good,
exactly. Bad baseball leads to bad umpiring.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Good baseball leads to
Def,
good umpiring.
you're definitely, yeah, you're absolutely right. Because it's so easy to call ball strike when they're pitching them down the
Exactly.
middle. When they're bouncing
Well,
them 5 feet off the plate, it's going to be a
right.
long day.
Exactly. When you start out behind the plate and you have to fight to find a strike,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
he's here, he's here, he's here, he's here, he's here, and then he throws one borderline, and then what are you going to do? You're going to ball it. I mean, yeah, you've not earned anything. You've not shown me you can do anything.
Right.
You've
Right.
not shown me any command.
Right.
You
All right.
know?
All right. Well, let's get down to my curveball question. All right, you
Okay.
ready for this one? You ready?
Yeah.
All right. So you have 2 chewing gums to choose
Okay.
from. Which one we
Right.
getting? We getting Big League Chew or Bazooka?
As a player, it would be Big League Chew because nothing is more cooler than pulling a big pack out because it looks like chewing tobacco, right? Nothing was cooler than to pull out a big wad of Big League Chew out there while you're standing at shortstop
Yeah.
or third base or on base. Nothing was cooler, right?
If you can make a flavor, what would it be?
Oh, it'd be grape without a
Grape,
doubt.
the
Yeah,
big
yeah.
purple grape.
Yeah, but as an umpire, I was always a seeds guy.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I was a seats guy too. It's funny
Yeah.
because one time my son, he was like 0 for 12. And I told him,
Mhm.
buddy, I said, if you get a hit today, I'll buy you whatever you want in the concession stand. Well,
Right.
he put a bullet in between the first baseman, second baseman. He's standing at first base. He's jumping up and down. And I'm like, oh boy, here we go. He's going to want something big. And he wanted a big pouch of Big League Chew. And
Yeah.
he was 9 years old. And I was like, no problem. Well, I get him. He's sitting in the back of the car. He comes out of the car and he's got this big old cheek like this. And I go,
Exactly.
what the heck? You know, I said, what's going on? And he says, he goes, it's my gum. And I was like, well, where's the rest of it? And he goes, no, I put it all in my mouth. It's one patch, you know?
Yeah.
You're like, oh my,
cooler, man.
yeah, nothing was cooler.
Nothing
Well, anyway,
was cooler.
Stitch, listen, let me let you go. And I appreciate you being on. God bless. And
God bless you, brother. I
keep-
love you. I miss you. I think about you quite a bit, man. So if
Yeah.
you see any of the boys, Marshall, you see Marshall or talk to Marshall, just tell him I love him.
absolutely, absolutely.
Marshall
Absolutely.
Santos, first base umpire.
Marshall Santos, he's still enjoying a cool beverage here and there. It's an inside joke, folks. You wouldn't understand. Stitch enjoyed it. He's still 20 years later. I'm still hitting him with that one. Anyway,
Yes, exactly.
Listen, it's been a pleasure, Stitch, and we'll be in touch. And for those of you who do not subscribe to my YouTube channel, and we'll be taking you on some tours. We'll get some other umpires. We'll get some other teams, some baseball players out there. And like I said, subscribe, like us. If you like what Stitch said, want to get in touch with him, just drop me a line. I'll get you his number. I'll get you his email, and you can drop him a line. All right, Stitch.
Yes.
God bless. Thank you. Thank
God
you for
bless,
being
brother.
on. Have a good one.
Good seeing you, man.
All right.
Take care.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.